always going to follow the Congress reports?
Yeah. Right.
Just something about it.
All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Further discussion. Gentleman from Green, what reason you rise?
To inquire, the gentleman from Jefferson.
Gentleman from Jefferson, you yield?
I do.
Proceed.
Afternoon,
Hi, gentlemen. I know this is an issue you feel strongly about, too.
Pardon?
I know this is an issue you feel strongly about, protecting our kids.
Absolutely.
You've got a great record on that issue.
Well, and I was in the office and heard some of your concerns. I serve on the Internet Cybercrime Task Force for the House, and wanted to come out and just inquire a little bit more in depth from what I heard on the web there.
Right.
About your concerns.
While you were listening on the web, there's about a dozen perverts on there that are trying to entice children to do terrible things while we're using the web for good purposes.
Yeah. It's a wonderful program, and I am frustrated that the Senate took the funds out, but my understanding from the folks at the ICCG, they sort of anticipated the problem, and I think they've encouraged folks to actually apply for some of the other grants back before they ran out, is my understanding.
Well, I've heard from the largest task force in the state, and they're very concerned that they without this grant fund, that they lose officers because they see no other source for the funding as the system currently stands today.
Well, my understanding is that they were many of them were told at the beginning of the year and before to apply for both this fund or this grant, and then also, I guess, the burn grants.
Right.
I'm not familiar with that one, but just as a backup in case this actually happened, they sort of anticipated that this potential problem with the declining revenue we've seen this year. So some of the departments that have applied for these funds, and I haven't been able to run the traps on it, but I know that they did have some warning, and actually were able to go out and apply for these other grant programs. So it isn't totally by surprise that we see this coming, but I'm with you in hoping that we could have had some more funding.
Up until a few days ago, there was still $1 million in general revenue in the budget for this.
Right.
So I think the expectation of the law enforcement task forces involved was that there was going to be a way to apply for the state funding, and as it stands today, there's not going to be, unless this motion is adopted.
Yeah, I think in talking with them, knowing that there was some advance warning, I certainly, as the House representative on that task force, I feel comfortable with the gentleman's motion and try to work the thing out in conference.
Well, we've already worked it out in conference, and are you saying that you're comfortable with my motion to go back to conference? I mean,
I'm
in
sorry.
conference we worked it out where the Senate had $1.5 million, we had $1 million, and we violated the spirit, I think, of exceeding the differences by going from not somewhere between $1 million and $1.5 million, but down to zero because we had the money coming from two different pots. And I don't think when we send a bill to conference where our dollar amount is $1 million and the Senate's dollar amount is $1.5 million, that I don't think our expectation should be that we're going to end up at zero on that line item.
Well, I wanted to come out and support the budget chair in his motion because, as I said, I know that the folks who applied, and I sit on that task force as a member from the House, I know that they were given warning early in the year and encouraged to apply for other grant programs because they were concerned that this could happen. Now, that said, if we can get this thing done and continue on with the gentleman's motion, I will be advocating as a member of that task force vehemently next year to get some additional funding. I've worked with Senator Loudon a few years ago to get the thing established in the first place, and every year I've tried to get more funding. But this year is a different kind of year, and I am pleased to know that they were given that fair warning. So I thank you for the inquiry.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Further discussion. Gentleman from Boone, what reason you rise?
permission to speak from a microphone, not my own, Mr. Speaker.
Granted, and proceed.
May I inquire from the gentleman from the gumbo bottom?
Proceed.
Not many people know that's what that really is, but yes, I'll be happy to yield.
Proceed.
Gentlemen, I think we can all agree that the gentleman from Jefferson has made a very important catch here. That his question about whether or not this program can keep going or not is an excellent one and caught many people because he may very well be right. Except I think you have learned some things from the administration, haven't you, in this?
Yes, gentlemen. In the interim, we've had an opportunity to contact the executive branch, and the executive branch believes that the state can receive funding from the federal government, and instead of that money going directly to the, I'll say, the association, the money would go to the state, and then the state in turn would appropriate money to that association. So I believe that funding will be available to continue this very vital program. So in this case, I would agree with the executive branch, gentlemen.
And do you also, I think that it's pretty clear that everybody on budget from both sides of the aisle is absolutely committed to making sure that the general revenue to support this program is there. Do you think that's right?
I think all 10 of us would have voted in favor of this. And during the discussion, as we were talking about what to do, there was no feedback. And normally if we kind of make a mistake, the departments will get up and say, you know, you really need to rethink this. You just made a mistake. And so they knew where the conference committee was going, and the department did not come to either the House or the Senate to say, you guys just made a boo-boo, you need to back up real quick. So, but having the call to the executive branch and just confirming the ability to do what we all want to do gives me in this case, I'll say the insurance to know that we can follow through and continue to do the right thing.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Further discussion. Gentleman from St. Louis County.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To speak briefly on the motion.
Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Again, now that we've had a chance to talk to the governor's office about the possibilities of this, and they assure us that we're all in agreement that we can fund this the way we believe we can fund this, I would ask the body to vote against the motion.
Further discussion. Seeing none, gentleman from Jefferson recognizes closed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know that the ranking member budget from the Kelly District, the chairman of the budget from what I would call Gumbo Flats, not Gumbo Bottoms, but I know that they have the best intentions, as does the executive department, in saying that they believe this money will be available. The deadline for this funding, the deadline for the grant, just came and went April 30th. There's no way that we know for sure that we're guaranteed that money. The grant application now sits in Washington with the grant makers deciding who they're going to award grants to, what allowable uses are going to be attached to those grants, and so forth. $1 million out of our $23 billion budget is not much to ask to ensure the safety of children all over the state that have access to the internet, and ensure the incarceration of the despicable perverts that use the internet as their own backyard in enticing children to do unspeakable acts via the internet, that they arrive in our correctional facilities. We can always let this funding lapse if, in fact, the federal dollars come down. But right now, it is an absolute mystery. There's nobody in this building that can stand here and say that we're going to definitely get the funding, because the grants have not been awarded yet. The allowable uses for the grant money have not been determined yet. So the only way today, at this moment, that we can assure that these task forces are going to be funded is to adopt my motion, and I renew my motion, Mr. Speaker.
Gentleman Jefferson has moved the House refused to adopt the conference committee report to Senate Committee Substitute House to late, and request the Senate further conference thereon, and that the House conferees be bound to the House position with regard to sections 8.040 and 8.045 with regards to the cybercrime investigation fund. All those in favor of the substitute motion vote yes, opposed no. Mr. Clerk, ring a bell and open the board. Mr. Clerk, close the board, tie the vote. By your vote of 70 yes, 86 no, you have defeated the substitute motion. Back on discussion of the original motion.